Okay, now it's time to say a few words about stress in emotional triangles. And the reality is that there is an inverse relationship between effective leadership on the one hand and stress on the other. The type of leadership which creates the least stress also happens to be the type of leadership that is most effective. Now, to the extent that a leader becomes enmeshed in the relationship that exists between two other persons. And that can happen by taking responsibility for it, or perhaps they triangle the leader, you out. You'll wind up with the stress of their relationship. So, stress is more than just hard work. It's not just about hard work, it's about the place that we occupy in the emotional triangles. So the same amount of hard work will be more or less stressful depending on the position from which one approaches or becomes involved with the work. So the stress that leaders experience primarily arises from the manner in which they come to occupy a position of responsibility for the relationships of other parties. Now, these other parties, these other systems can be two people or any person and a system plus a problem or a goal. The way out is to make the two persons, to make the others responsible for their own relationship or the other person responsible for his or her problem. We shouldn't take on the responsibility of their relationship and we shouldn't take other people's problems on. Okay? Now, all of that is true, but we must remain connected as well. So, let me say that again. The way out is to make the other two responsible for their relationship or the other person responsible for their problem while remaining connected. And that last part, the connection, the remaining connection is absolutely crucial. One stays in the triangle, but one does not allow oneself to become triangled. And then this is very different than quitting, very different than abdicating, uh, and it's much different than resigning. Stress has and takes a toll on our bodies. And one may say that we're even in a triangle between our bodies and our minds. The challenge that we face is that of putting them together. Friedman says this through the integrating effects of self differentiation. Self differentiation functions to bring those together. Symptoms of stress in burnout can be mental, they can be physical, depending in part on the way that we negotiate these realities. Something that can depend on perhaps being impacted by our genes, our family background. Leaders are most likely to suffer the effects of stress if they failed in the ongoing work, the ongoing task of self differentiation. Now, leaders who feel responsible for holding an entire system together are most vulnerable to the harmful effects of stress. Emotional triangles are very effective at channeling stress toward a single individual. And if the leader finds themselves in the togetherness position, it can be lethal to the leader who allows herself to be triangled. Now, the leaders should learn to treat their physical, mental, and behavioral symptoms as early warning signs. And what are these early warning signs of? Well, that they are in an emotional triangle that is pulling, if not tearing them apart. So, what I want you to hear here is often stress and burnout that leaders feel, whether emotionally, physically, behaviorally, are more than likely directly tied to how they're operating in these triangles. These symptoms, and that's what they are, is they're symptoms. These symptoms can function as a sort of feedback loop from their environment to inform them of what's going on. And we get we get to a place where we read that and figure that out, acknowledge that, rather than ignoring them or kind of bullheading our way through them, trying to battle through them. Leaders should see them as signs that perhaps they are approaching things in the wrong manner. Such symptoms, if attended to, can help us become more effective leaders. So, understanding how triangles work, why they work, how they interlock, and then how stress operates, particularly in the position of the leader, is absolutely crucial for our healthy functioning. And I think really could explain a great deal that we see out there of the quote burnout or stress. There are no quick fixes to those things. There are things that we can do to kind of alleviate or tone it down, but the stress doesn't go away until we begin to understand how we relate in our relationships. Fundamental thing to be aware of. And also, crisis and sabotage, which is where we're going next. Thank you.